Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me. I'm just wanting to discuss a little bit about holding space for yourself today. What I mean by holding space for yourself is giving yourself the time and the permission to go to a safe place, to express how you're feeling, to acknowledge any emotions, to acknowledge any pains, to acknowledge anything at all really that's coming up for you and you feel may be influencing, your current everyday. Now, this can be done in many ways. Personally, I really like my private space in relation to being like my bedroom or a place in the house. Has a few little artifacts that I feel are very connected to me, and sometimes I just play some calm music and I just sit there. I might journal and meditate even. It's really just finding what works for you. I've had a few experiments with things and I find that to be probably my best. Obviously it's going to be different for everyone, but can also be in the form of seeking out a trusted friend or family member to speak to openly and honestly about how you're feeling, things that are going on for you. Maybe it could even be in the form of a professional, like a counselor, an energetic healer, a work colleague, someone who may be not so close to you personally or intimately. But it is important that we do find these things that can provide a safe space for us. Could even be in the form of a coach if you're working with someone on a more professional level, because it is very common for us to come up against challenges in our life, whether that be professionally, personally, emotionally, financially. There are going to be times where we're thrown the curveball and we don't really know what to do next. Sometimes in a time of stress, we get so honed in on a narrow focus that we can't really see the bigger picture or any way out, and it causes us stress, it causes us anxiety, it causes us to come up with beliefs that we're not good enough, we're failing, something's wrong, we're not destined for our dreams and our desires, and that's just simply not true. Sometimes you just need to pull yourself out of the shambles that's happening around you to gain that clarity and to get clear on what's actually happening and where you can go from there. So someone on the outside is always good for perspective purposes. Sometimes it might just needing to actually do the opposite and pull yourself away from all the noise that's happening around you so that you can get a bit more clear-headed and focused on what is going on and get in touch with that inner voice a little bit more to get you back on track. So what I really suggest with holding space is that it's something that is vital to your successes, whether that be health, fitness, relationships, business, financial status. When you're getting overwhelmed with the noises and all the opinions and influx of others, comparing yourself on social media, whatever it may be for you, impatience is a big one. I know personally that's mine. The concept, however, though, is although it's a very good thing to acknowledge when and how to hold space for yourself, it's also very important that you don't use that as an excuse to stop working towards what it is you're actually going for. Now, the reason I add this onto the end of holding space is because I personally went from one extreme to the other. So I started to realize that it was okay to take time out, to disconnect, to go and find the things that helped me to just get my head a little bit clearer and more focused. What I didn't realize I was doing a lot of the time though, is I was using that as my excuse, so to speak, to stay in victim mode. So I was like, that's okay, like I need to just get myself clear and to get focused and do all these things, and it kind of kept people off my back, so to speak. And not that anyone was even on my back, I was on my own back, but I felt like it was a good hideout by, saying that I needed time and space to work through things. But at the end of the day, we've got a joiner here. At the end of the day, you only really need 24 to 48 hours in an extreme case. The time it takes for your emotional feeling to manifest into form and pass is really no longer than 2 minutes, 90 seconds to say the very minimum. And sometimes it gets very loud, it gets very overwhelming. So a day or two just out in nature, which is where I like to be a lot of the time for that reason. You know, speak to yourself honestly, write things down, get clear, get focused, you know, cut out the noise that's not serving you, cut out the people that aren't serving you, and then get back to it. Don't give yourself the permission to hold space and then set up camp and never leave because it just then takes you so far back the opposite direction that you were heading. And then obviously you've got this back and forward roller coaster of going too far away from your goal, getting back up to it and then pulling away from it. And at the end of the day, every step counts. It's just persistence, it's patience, and it's progress. Rather than striving for the perfection, getting defeated, and, you know, using excuses to pull yourself back from what you're going for. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who knows the intensity of your dream, of your goal, of your ambition, and how much you want to bring that to life. And it's okay to take a step back to just regain that focus. You know, cry out the anger and the frustration, take a boxing class, go on a weekend away to a remote place and a cheap Airbnb and just no internet connection, whatever it is for you, find it and use it when it's needed. But don't use it as an excuse to set up camp and stay there. You must keep going because you have bigger things to bring to this world. You know you do, I know you do, I know I do. And we can only try and be our best person every single day and take 1, 2, 10 extra little steps towards that long-term outcome. So find that space that works. All the best with your journey. As always, thanks for tuning in.